Hi, I'm Laura Hemmingham. I'm a second year PhD and I'm based at Royal Holloway, but my research is funded through the London NERC DTP.
I'm Friso. I'm 3 months into my London NERC DTP.
Hi, I'm Jessica and I'm in my second year of my PhD on the London NERC DTP and I'm based at Royal Holloway, University of London and Institute of Zoology.
So my PhD is in environmental science and I'm funded through the London NERC DTP. I'm primarily based at the Natural History Museum in London and I'm also affiliated with UCL.
Hi, my name's Sasha and I'm a first year PhD student on the London NERC DTP.
So my research is looking at the paleoecology of Pleistocene deer. So it's from about 2.5 million years ago to 10,000 years ago. And I'll be reconstructing the diet of these deer. So different types of vegetation leave different types of microscopic marks on the enamel surface of their teeth. So I'll be looking at their diet through studying these marks for different species of deer during the Pleistocene and seeing how their diet changed in relation to the different climate changes that occurred during the Pleistocene. So I'll be looking at how flexible their diet was in relation to climate, whether competition increased, and basically just how they dealt with different climate changes in the past.
I'm currently researching the impacts of plastic pollution on filter-feeding megafauna in the central Indian Ocean.
I'm looking at a really special gene called a meiotic drive gene. Now, all the genes in our genome are made up from either our mother or our father. But what would happen if some genes are selfish and are more likely to be chosen than other genes? Well, the meiotic drive gene is one of those genes. In the stalk-eyed fly, this gene is present on the X chromosome. Now, just as a recap, females have 2 X chromosomes and males have 1 X and 1 Y chromosome. Now, the way in which this drive gene works is by killing all Y-bearing sperm. So only the X chromosomes are passed on, and they're the ones that have the meiotic drive gene on them. This means the gene is now present in 100% of the offspring, rather than in 50% like with normal genes. But more importantly, this causes a biased sex ratio because all Y-bearing sperm are killed, which means that meiotic drive males can only have female offspring. This causes a departure from the normal 1-to-1 Fisherian sex ratio and interrupts normal genetic transmission, and I guess that's what I'm most interested in.
And when I started my undergraduate degree in archaeology at the University of Southampton, I already knew that I wanted to do a PhD, but I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do it in. I planned out PhD options with my undergraduate dissertation supervisor, but it was my master's thesis supervisor at Royal Holloway that pointed me in the direction of the London NERC DTP.
So yeah, from my undergraduate really, I did have a goal in mind of doing a PhD, as I knew that it would help me get the sort of career that I wanted. But I wasn't sure if it was something I could achieve. I knew that it was really, really competitive. So I sort of said to myself I'd give myself a few years from finishing my master's to look for a PhD while doing smaller jobs. And if that didn't work out, I would put the idea of doing a PhD to one side and try and get a job with the degrees I already had. Looking back, I'm actually quite happy that I had that time in between my master's and my PhD because it helped me develop my research interests independent of education and sort of hone in on exactly what I wanted to do for a PhD.
I didn't always know I wanted to do a PhD. It was only when I was looking at master's projects about a year and a half ago I realised there were so many topics that I really wanted to understand better that I thought a PhD might be for me.
So my background, I did a undergraduate degree in maths and physics, and then I went on to do a master's in tropical biology, so combining my interest for biology and also for maths. So my thesis focused on modelling the impacts of climate change on plankton pollutions. And then after doing my master's, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do a PhD. I hadn't really found that topic that I was really passionate about, so I branched out and applied to graduate programs, and I ended up working in cybersecurity for 5 years, so something completely different. And I did learn lots of skills like time management and teamwork, things like that, commercial skills that I wouldn't necessarily have learned staying in academia. But then I did realise that I missed learning and I missed being in this environment, so I applied to the London NERC DTP and decided to do a PhD. I applied to the London NERC DTP mainly because you could come to the PhD without having a full project in mind, and you spend the first 6 months building that project and talking to various supervisors, expanding your horizons and learning about all the different topics.
The great thing about this programme is that you don't have to start a project straight away, but you give some time to learn skills and develop a project that is your own. I came into this programme straight from my master's course. So this has really offered me some time to develop a project that basically allows me to combine my quite disparate interests, which I really appreciate.
One of the reasons I was attracted to the London NERC DTP was the 6 months of training they provide before starting your proper PhD project, because I thought it would be really useful to have this training and also to get to know people before starting your project so that you have more of a support network available. I was also really keen to network with potential supervisors and sort of tailor make a project to my research goals. And since starting my PhD, I've seen how useful this support network has been, not only from staff of the DTP, but also other PhD candidates in my cohort.
The reason I chose the NERC DTP is because I really wanted to be in a cohort with other people like myself so that we could share our experiences and not feel like we were going through it alone, but also so that I was surrounded by people who had different interests to me. So I really enjoyed the fact that I know people from marine ecology, climate scientists, geographers and geologists. I think it's a really great DTP and I'm very happy that I ended up doing my project with them.